Welcome to the third episode of Fluently Speaking with your host, Rod Fluellen. Today we have a special guest who is extremely dedicated and committed to pointing to the community. She is someone who definitely walks the walks, the one and only Doris Drake. Welcome to the
Thanks
podcast
for
and thanks
having
for
me.
being the guest. All right. No problem, no problem. Before we get into the topics of today's podcast, which would allow the audience to learn more about you, learn about you, what you're doing in the community, and how you're impacting our youth, I would like to get started with just a few
Okay.
would you rather questions. All right. So the first question: would you rather have a $10,000 shopping spree or a luxury vacation?
Ooh. Wow. Let me get the ooh. Let me do the 10,000 shopping spree.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right. What would you buy?
What would I buy? I don't know if
Yeah.
paying off debt counts. What would you buy? But I would definitely put it towards something useful like pay.
Okay. All right. Okay. And second question: would you rather wear heels all day or go makeup free for a month?
Ah, easy. Go make up free for a month.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't wear
All right.
makeup, so.
And then number three. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, number three. Would you rather get caught singing badly in public or fall flat on your face in front of a crowd?
Singing badly in public. I'm sure I've done that. I'm sure I've done that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
You ain't gonna
I'm
fall in
sure
front of
I've
nobody,
sung badly in front of people
huh?
before. So,
Okay. And then number four. Would you rather live without the internet for a year or without the air conditioning and heating for a year?
give me the internet for a year. I need my AC all year round. I need my AC. I need my fans. Menopause is menopausing, so yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So now we're gonna kind of just dive into the interview. So start off by telling the audience about
My
yourself.
name is Doris Drake. I am a native of South Carolina. Got my master. I'm sorry. Got my undergrad in liberal arts at USC, and my master's in counseling at Columbia International. Have what, two kids, or two adult kids, should I say? Uh, 20 and 24. One is in music, John. He's very he has that art that's in our DNA. So he's very artistic and do a lot of things with music, clothing, and things of that nature. And my daughter Unique, she plays professional basketball overseas. She's currently in France playing right now. I guess that's the base or the foundation, I guess, of who how I can introduce myself.
Okay. So you also started a nonprofit. So tell us a little bit about what
Okay.
inspired you to start your nonprofit and what's the
Okay,
core
well,
mission of
prior
the
to
nonprofit?
me starting my nonprofit, it actually started out as a ministry. First, let me just say that. But before it got its nonprofit status, and I went outside and expanded it beyond just the church, I worked as a 911 dispatcher for the city of Columbia. So I dispatched for the city of Columbia for like, man, maybe over 15 years, for a long time. And the last couple years is when I went back to get my master's in counseling. And what I noticed is that the call volume for youth committing suicide escalated tremendously. The last call I took was a 10-year-old who committed suicide in Blackwood. I knew then it was just time for me to, because I always had a niche for the youth. So I knew that mean it was time for me to resign to move into more of my calling and my purpose. So I started Rebirth Enterprise Youth Development Program.
Okay. Okay. Okay, good. So what problem does your nonprofit aim to solve and why do you
Okay,
think
so
it's
we're
so important?
an emotional intelligence program and life skill program, and let me go back real quick. So when I resigned from 911 to start this position, I understood that kids were being prematurely exposed to things before they were mentally prepared to deal with those things. This generation is being dumped with so much more than we were. So not having the proper skills to deal with these different things that they're being exposed to prematurely cause them to act out the best way they know. And unfortunately, the best way they know is going to be some unhealthy way. Whether or not, again, it's suicide, whether or not it's aggressive behavior, whether or not it's causing some type of self-infliction on yourself or self-pain, shall I say. So with that understood, I wanted to provide a tool. I wanted to provide a tool to the youth to address that issues, with the understanding that if you cannot regulate your emotions, you can't regulate life.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's a really powerful statement. So first would like to commend you for having the guts to follow, your passion and to quit your job and start a nonprofit. And so later on, we're gonna kind of talk about like what challenges you
Okay.
face while starting a nonprofit, because I know that's not always easy just to get the funding and support needed. So, how did you come up with your name and branding of your
Well,
organization?
I also was am. I really don't operate in that. I don't say I don't operate in that gift because I still do, but I'm also a spoken word artist. So I don't do much of it now. So my stage name was Rebirth, and it just started from there. So every business I open, whether or not it's because I have other business as well. So Rebirth Enterprise, youth development program. So it sort of like became a brand per se. So just starting brand with the
Okay,
name of Rebirth, and so that's where the name originated from. And actually, the logo, I don't know if you can see it. So actually, the logo, I reached out to one of my friends, Pequena, and I was telling her, man, I need a logo for my youth organization, and this is what she came up with. And the guy who was actually doing my website at the time, or managing my website at the time, without me even knowing that he was going to do this, he came actually because it was just Rebirth, and then he added, which is also our mission. It actually is our vision. Mission and vision is renewed, transformed, and restored. So he came up with those words, and it just went smoothly with the rebirth. So our vision is to renew, restore, and transform the lives of the youth.
I love that vision and mission statement. But that's very important and it's much needed. It's much needed. Um, you kind of hit on it earlier, like the things that our kids or the youth are facing now are much more than what we had to face when we were their age, just because of social media alone. So I think the work that you're doing is very important and it is needed. So we're gonna kind of just jump into some of those challenges. So what were your biggest challenges you faced when starting a
I
nonprofit?
think the biggest challenge, especially like when you're a grassroots nonprofit organization, is the getting the support. Getting the support of the community, whether or not it's through donation, monetary donation, whether or not it's through volunteering their time, whether or not it's just support. So I think that's definitely was the hardest thing, because especially when you're thinking about everyone applying for the same grant. So you have someone like myself that's brand new or smaller nonprofit organization competing against these organizations that has been around for years. So that was another challenge, as well.
Okay. So how did you stay motivated when things got tough in terms of you trying to get those grants or
Oh
support
man,
from the
how did I
community?
stay motivated? I know this gonna sound like so political or religious. But to be honest, what kept me motivated is knowing our remembering the times, each time remembering the time before that I made it through, if that makes any sense. So through knowing that, that sort of
Hmm.
motivates me to know, like when my backup is against the wall, I have so many times that I have overcame. You know what I'm saying? That I know that at the end of the day, that God has my back. I'm gonna be good. So those past times of
Gotcha.
when my back was against the wall, or I feel like I was drowning and never drowned, because here I am still today. That's what keeps me motivated.
Okay, that's a really, really good answer. And so, what are some misconceptions that people often have about like running a nonprofit?
I think one of, and this is even with myself when I was trying to figure out whether or not I was with this particular organization, youth organization, whether or not I was gonna go profit or non-profit. I think the biggest misunderstanding is that if you run a non-profit, you can't get paid. Um, Yeah, I think that's
Oh, that's really
one of
good.
the
Hmm.
biggest misunderstanding, because I misunderstood that too. I'm like, okay, I'm already making a sacrifice, leaving a great job. You know, 911 was it did me pretty well. So
Hmm.
leaving leaving a great job to, how do you get income as a nonprofit? You know, you can't. And my misunderstanding was I thought you couldn't. But to get around it, or how a nonprofit can make money if you're running it, you can pay yourself through the board. You can agree with the board to pay yourself. Like for
Right.
example, at this current time, I'm the only instructor. So with our programs, I'm the only instructor at this current time teaching it. So I have to pay myself, the nonprofit. I'm not gonna say myself for myself, but the nonprofit has to pay me um, those instructor fees.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So now I'm gonna focus on now like growth and impact. So, what strategies have helped you like grow your nonprofit the
Ooh,
most?
I don't even know if this can be considered a strategy, but and maybe it can. But consistency definitely,
Okay.
and being resilient. Consistency and being resilient, because even when I resigned, that didn't mean that all these doors gonna all of a sudden start opening because I resigned and start walking in my purpose and all my calling, or doing something meaningful. It didn't happen that way. It did come with adversities. So being able to be resilient
Right.
and consistent regardless of what it may seem or what it currently looks like.
Okay. Can you share a success story that has made all of your hard
Oh,
work
success
worth it?
stories. That I'm still around. I mean, seriously, that I'm still kicking. Like I said, left my job at 911 to do this, and all the doors that were closed 4 years ago. I'm gonna say all, because I'm still waiting for some to open, as God see fit. But there are many doors that I'm currently walking in now. Just about all the doors that I'm in now are the same doors, are the same avenues I tried to go through and told me no. Like no, 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 no. And it was heartbreaking because I knew I was providing a service, a needful service. So constantly getting those no's, 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 and those no's, 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 are now yes, yes, yes. So definitely seeing those doors that was once, I don't even say closed, because now I'm going through them. So those doors that were just shut but not permanently shut, and now they're open. That would be my biggest success story.
Oh, that's really good. And I think it's very key that you said consistency and just refusing to take no for an answer. Yep. So that's really good. So how do you measure the impact of your work?
um by the youth, um by their quantitative, some of them quantitative behavior changes,
Hmm.
by their testimony. By the end of the program or during the program, they come and, hey, hey, Miss Drake, I'm starting to, see things differently. I'm starting to change my mindset. Starting to understand whatever, emotions better. I now have a coping mechanism to deal with, my emotions. Or now I understand how to set boundaries or what is a healthy relationship, and things that I need to change in my life. Now that I understand what is boundaries, so just hearing their testimonial, and also seeing the change. One of my things I always tell them is that I definitely don't want them to leave my program the same way they entered. And of course, when you plant a seed, you don't always see the seed grow. So I know there's certain things that I'm not going to see grow. I'm not going to see the full change in them. But just seeing some of the residue of the program, and how it has changed them, is how I measure the impact.
That's really good. Yeah, that's a really good answer. And so we talked about earlier. You mentioned kind of like it being a challenge as a grassroots or a new nonprofit trying to get grants. So how do you maintain your financial stability while staying true to your
Oh,
mission?
wow. I don't want to say I'm a jack of all trades, because I don't want to say that. I don't want to make it seem like I'm a hustler either, but I guess I'm a hustler. Grind. No, but just doing
Yeah.
having different means of income, because I understood coming from working at 911, I was on 12-hour shifts. So coming from working a 12-hour shift to where I'm at now, it's like I have a better understanding of prioritizing things. I don't even know
Mhm.
if I asked you a question. To be honest, what did you ask me?
Yeah.
What was that question again? I went left on that one.
so
What did you
so
ask
so
me?
you Yeah, you kind of did answer the question. I asked about like how do you maintain financial stability, because I know it
Okay,
was
yes,
like
I
a challenge getting a lot
did.
of the grants, especially as a grassroots. So you did mention the fact that you do multiple things that have multiple streams of income, which can help. And one of those incomes are is fundraising, right? So what advice would you give others looking to fundraise
I'm
effectively?
gonna be honest. I may not be the right person to answer that question, because I really don't do a lot of fundraising to keep my nonprofit afloat. I really like work different in and odds jobs, really, to keep it afloat. Because like I was telling you,
Hmm.
it's difficult getting grants. It's even difficult to get people to donate towards your nonprofit or your cause. And I don't want that to ever be the reason why I have to close my doors, because I became dependent on fundraisers. Now, nothing's wrong with fundraisers. You have those who do fundraising and do great.
Hmm.
So I'm not speaking against it. Just for me personally, I can't really speak on fundraising. I don't do a lot of fundraising. I really, doing a lot of things outside of fundraising to make sure my nonprofit stay afloat.
Okay. And so earlier you also mentioned that a lot of doors that was shut then but not permanently that you're in now. So how important are partnerships and collaborations in your work?
It's great. I mean, because all I do is provide a tool. So when you think of a toolbox, I have various tools, and you could be working on, for example, you be working on a window. Let's say you're building a window, working on a window, but you can't use that one. You can't use one tool for that window to come out in its best form, right? So it's the same thing when you look at partnership, especially you talk about the youth. I'm only a tool, so I don't have all the answers. So that's why partnerships are important. For example, I'm in South Carolina Youth Challenge Academy. So they implemented my program into their curriculum. So while the teachers and educators are dealing with their academic part, I'm dealing with the emotional component. So one is not more important than the other. So that's the same thing with with partnership. So all I am is a tool.
Mhm. Okay, and so I do want to talk about that partnership too, because if you are a local school district or a neighboring school district, I truly believe that you all need to look into partnering with Miss Drake and her organization, because the tool that she brings is not necessarily a part of the day-to-day curriculum what is taught in public schools. So I do truly believe that your kids can all benefit from what Miss Drake provide within her program. So I did want to say that
Thank you.
before I go to the next question. And so the next question is what's the best way for people to support your organization in addition to donating?
Um, just like what you just did. um, Word of mouth, help promoting. If you know of a youth organization, whether or not it's in the school district, whether or not it's on a government level, whether or not it's in the private sector, whether or not it's doing summer camp, if you know of anyone that that have some type of program with the youth and they're looking for an outsourced program to an effective program to come in and address emotional intelligence and life skills and social skills. Rebirth Enterprise Youth Development Program is I guess I'm the executive director, so like a dual relationship that I'm about to do, but no, I'm very confident in how effective our program is and has been. So spreading the word. Um, I'm always looking for volunteers to help do some of the administrative work. So there's so many ways outside of just monetary donations or contributions that you can help be a part of our vision.
Okay. So I challenge everybody that's watching or listening. I'm challenge you all to reach out to Miss Drake and just be a part of something that's very impactful, because we need it. As y'all see the news, y'all see the social media feeds. Our youth need all hands on deck. It's an old saying: "It take a village." So we asking you all to be a part of Miss Drake's in the youth in the community village. So, what has running a nonprofit taught you about leadership and business?
Um, if we look on the business side, let's start with business side because I think there's two different answers. Um, and I'm hoping I go back and address the leadership and don't forget. But as far as the business side, it's taught me to withstand the process. I think that because if when I think of those many no's I was getting, if I would have stopped, I would have cut myself short from being where I am now. Now I'm nowhere near where I want to be. Let's say that. So I'm not saying I have arrived. I'm not saying it at all. Um, but if I would have stopped and did not endure the process, the ups and downs, I would not be here today. So the business part just taught me to embrace every process, even when it's rough. And I'm not sure if that may be the typical answer you're looking for, but it's just that's what the business part has taught me. Um, Leadership.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's taught me that even as a leader, because I'm the executive director and as well as the CEO of not just Rebirth Enterprise Youth Development Program, but other business that I have as well. But what it has taught me is that something I think I've already addressed when I said I don't have all the answers. I may be the executive director or the CEO, but I don't have all the answers. So understanding that being a leader is making sure or having people around you who fill in those gaps of your weaknesses, and you being okay as a leader acknowledging their strength and what they're strong in and that what you're weak in, but at the same time their strength or what they're great in is also part of the success of the business, because I can't do it by myself.
That's really good, and I also think that's one thing I think a lot of CEO or leaders kind of fall short because they want to be in control of everything. So that's actually a great trait and a great strength of yours to be able to realize when someone else is stronger, and then you kind of allow them to take the lead in that area. So that is a really good strength, and that is a really good thing to know about good leadership. So I know you said you're not where you want to be. So just looking forward a little bit, what is your vision for the
I
future of
want
your nonprofit?
um I want our programs to my organization to be worldwide. I don't want it to be just within the state of South Carolina or the bordering states. I want it to be as far and beyond, even international. So I want to even provide it international. So just being able to expand just beyond the state and the surrounding states.
Okay, that's a great vision, and I with your with your faith that you have and the things that you're doing, I truly believe that you are going to accomplish that. But for those who are watching that's not familiar with your like organization, what are your programs, and then what do you do in the program, just
So
so they can know?
typically, my programs were targeted for grade level fourth through 12th, and again, we teach social emotional or emotional intelligence skills and life skills. So the programs up under our organization is one of them is a spoken word program, and that is it branches off into the event we're having. Our event, I guess we're going to talk about. But I have a spoken word program.
Right.
That's an 8-week program. It could be longer, but an 8-week program, and what it does is, for example, the first 4 weeks it talks about emotional intelligence, and then the last 4 weeks we teach the skill of spoken word as a healthy copanism to deal with their emotions. And at the end of that particular program, each student performs a spoken word, whether or not it's a form of rap, whether or not it's a form of poetry, whether or not it's a form of song, but they create their own original spoken word, releasing or expressing whatever they want to express. Also have Rebirth Youth Chat Forum. And Rebirth Youth Chat Forum was brought about for the solution post pandemic. I'm sure with you being a former educator in the education field, you can
Hmm.
contest to how after the pandemic, the behavior issues went sky high, tremendously for students. So the Rebirth Youth Chat
Hmm.
Forum helps address some of those issues with the hope of minimizing the impact, the emotional impact of the pandemic. Have a rebirth vape program, speaking on or teaching young youth about vapes. They're vaping as early as elementary, and not understanding it's the same thing as a cigarette. And the companies have got so creative with them to draw the young crowd. So just educating them on the effects of vaping. I also have a team building program, and that's specifically for student athletes, to teach them how to, because in this generation everything is so instant and I that we assume they know or have the tools to cooperate within a team while still navigating their own individual goals, and they don't. So providing them that tool, and I also have For the younger kids, since my programs are 4th through 12, for the younger kids, I do puppets. So teach them the same skills but through the use of puppets. And it's called the Puppet Pals, Rebirth Puppet Pals.
All right, that's really cool. So, do you offer the programs like during the school day or after school, Monday through Friday, on the weekends? Like, how do you, like, if I'm a parent and I want to sign my kid up for your program, how would I go
Typically, like
about
an
doing it?
organization, so I don't really do like individual. So let's say, for example, to answer your first questions, let's say, for example, some schools have me come in during school, and some use it as an extended day, as extended activity at the end of the day. I have some schools or some organizations that I come out on Saturdays. So basically, it basically my program is offered or customized to meet their needs or when the availability.
Okay, okay, that's really good. So, again, if you're a principal or superintendent of a school district, please get in contact with Miss Doris Drake because everybody can benefit from her programs. I'm pretty sure that some like when she was naming her programs, I'm pretty sure students kind of just popped in your mind like,
Yes.
oh, I know he could benefit from that or she can benefit from that. So let's take advantage of this resource while we have it and tap into Miss Doris Drake. So you did mention about an upcoming event. So what's the name of your upcoming event and when is it and what is it and
Okay.
how we can we get
So
tickets?
when I was stating one of the programs, Reverse Spoken Word program, an extension of that particular program is I select a group of kids that's either gone through that program or sometimes I open it up to the community as well. So typically both. So kids have gone through the program typically have first dibs and auditioning to participate in a spoken word showcase that we put on annually at the Koga Center, partnering with the Koga Center. And every year, springtime, we put on a spoken word showcase, and it's no cost for the participants to participate in the showcase. And the purpose of the showcase is to give them an opportunity to be heard. A lot of them have so many suppressed issues that they don't have an opportunity to express themselves or to be heard. You know, so giving them that chance to showcase their talent, but most important, have an audience to hear, their issues or concerns that they have. And this year is April the
Okay.
27th. April 27th at 4 o'clock at the Koger Center. It only costs $10 to get in, and all proceeds, remember I just said there's no cost to the participants. So all proceeds goes to the cost or the expense of having the event.
All right. And
Okay.
then how can we go
You can
about
get
getting
tickets by
tickets?
calling me on my business phone, toll free, 1-888-350-6545. Again, that's 1-888-350-6545. You can also visit my website, www.rebirthenterprise.org. Again, that's www.rebirthenterprise.org. On my website, it gives information about the event, as well as you can visit that website just to get a better understanding of the programs, breakdown of the programs, and a better understanding of myself, and also to see the success stories of the different organizations that I have worked with.
All right. So thank you for that information, and I do wish you the best of luck on your upcoming event. I'm going to do my best to push the word out so we
Yes.
can get that a packed house. I can let you know that I was fortunate enough to partner, and I'm still forever grateful for that to partner last year. And I can easily say that was by far one of the most powerful things that
Thank
I
you.
was ever a part of. Just to see the youth kind of just go up there and just speak from the heart. It was just a very powerful experience. So if you have not been to one, I highly encourage you to make sure you go to this event on April the 27th at 4 o'clock
Yep.
at the Kroger Center. All right, and so
Oh, I also wanted
you
to
go ahead,
say
Miss
that
Drake.
if the tickets, if we're not sold out, last year we did sell out. So if we're not sold out, you will be able to pay at the door.
Okay,
It'll be the
and it'd
same
be the
price
same price at the door,
if we
$10.
haven't sold out. The tickets are the space. Yep, the chairs.
Okay. Well, I do want to thank you so much, Miss Dre, for taking the time out to be a part of this podcast. And before we go, is there anything else you would like to say to the audience about you, about your organization that we didn't get to share
I
during my
think we covered
questions?
everything. And just like Roderick said, there's so many resources like myself and other organizations that's out there wanting to restore, renew, and transform the lives of the youth. So, if you are in a position to partner with organizations like myself and you're looking for an effective programs, you don't have to, especially if you're in South Carolina, you don't have to go to a whole nother state to look at it. I'm already a vendor in most of the school districts. So again, just again, if you are in a position to provide outsource help resources to your students or your youth, just keep me in mind.
Yeah, and that can also go for churches too, not just schools,
Yeah.
just anybody, daycare, churches, anybody, rec centers, anybody that have youth gatherings. Again, Miss Drake would be a great resource. So, thank you again, Miss Drake, for all you do for the community. Your commitment and dedication to our youth do not go unnoticed. Which is one of the main reasons why I wanted you on a podcast so we can help spread the word and let everybody know about the great work that you are doing and hopefully open up more doors for you. So again, thank you for everything that you're doing for the community. Thank you for taking your time out on this Sunday to be a part of this podcast. And thank you, audience, for watching. Look forward to seeing you all next
All right.
week. I'm out.